In our present world of fake news, I notice that a lot of people don't know how to read the news. Even people who know that the media very often lie to you, they're very often dishonest, they still don't know what to look for, what should throw up a little warning sign to say, maybe this article is not totally on the level. Even I've got conservative relatives, Trump supporters, all this, but they still believe the media because the media are very good at what they do. That's how they've been able to establish this kind of cultural hegemony. So it's very difficult to tell what's real, what's not. Fortunately, I am a seasoned expert in sifting through fake news. That is my job. I do it every day, and I try to figure out what's real and what's not. There was a story I saw the other day about Laverne Cox. Laverne Cox is an actor who identifies as an actress, and an alleged transphobic attack that just occurred on Laverne Cox. And so you're reading through it, and you don't know. I'm not going to say it's totally not true. I'm not going to say it's totally true. You've got to figure out what the warning signs are. You got to place your bets. It's all about risk. Before we get started, this video is sponsored by MyBookie, the best place to bet on sports and political events of all kinds. More from them later. Now, I am going to see if I can bet whether or not this is a real story or fake story. With all these guys, you know, you think of Brian Stelter, you think of Don Lemon, you think of Chris Cuomo. All these fake journalists out there, you want to be able to judge how reliable a story is, so I will rate how many lemons this story gets at the end. Title: Laverne Cox reveals she and a friend were victims of a transphobic attack. The phrase transphobic is in there. So immediately you know, okay, transphobic, this is a made-up term. It's just a way to castigate people who don't believe that men can become women as bigots. So already this is from such a radical ideological leftist perspective, I'm already skeptical of what this person's going to put out. Laverne Cox is thankfully safe at home after a terrifying attack this weekend. The orange is the new black star was walking in LA's Griffith Park on Sunday with a friend, and the two were approached by a man. Okay, just that very first sentence though, after a terrifying attack, when you start to see lots of adjectives pop up rather than just the facts, right, rather than just the nouns and the verbs, when you see those adjectives, especially right from the top, you know, okay, there's a strong perspective coming in here. This is not just a rundown of what happened. They're trying to give you a narrative. Okay. The man was looking to attack Cox, and thankfully, it's the second use of thankfully. This is not very good prose. Another key that maybe this person isn't the best, most objective reporter. Thankfully, her friend stepped in and de-escalated the situation, but not until things got physical. Cox says the attack was understandably scary, triggering, and nothing new for anyone who is transgender. So then you're establishing the premise that transgender people are under attack in America, and they're constantly the victims of crime. We'll get to the real statistics on this in just a second. Cox says she and her friend were walking through the park when the man approached them and aggressively asked for the time. Speaking to her followers on Instagram Live, Cox said that the man then tried to spook her by asking guy or girl. Cox said her friend replied, F off, and the man responded by physically attacking her friend. Okay, physically attacking. This is very broad. How did he physically attack the friend? Did he punch? Did he jab? Did he pull out some kind of weapon? What was the physical attack? Specificity here is going to be helpful in determining whether or not this happened, because specificity means you can hear the claim and then adjudicate how reasonable that was. Cox quickly grabbed her phone to call 911 and said that the incident was thankfully again, that's weird, over before she was able to finish dialing, noting that her friend was able to de-escalate the attack and prompt the man to leave them alone. So hold on. This is the first part where I say this doesn't quite add up. The man comes up and he's asked the time, and then he's being rude, and they get into an altercation. He starts physically attacking this friend. So Laverne Cox pulls out the phone. That takes 1 second to do. Boop, pulled out my phone. And has to dial 3 buttons. And by the way, 911 on the iPhone, which I assume is the phone that Laverne Cox has, you click like one button, right? You just click it, swipe, and it's on. In that amount of time, because Laverne Cox never did call 911, we're to believe that there was a physical altercation, and then the friend de-escalated the situation such that Laverne Cox no longer felt that he had to call 911, all in the amount of time it would take to swipe or to click 3 buttons on a phone. That time scale doesn't add up to me. This dude was looking for trouble because I happen to be a trans person in public, said Cox, adding that she was going to call her therapist to help her process the trauma. That's all it felt like. This isn't shocking to me. Obviously, this is my life. I've dealt with this a lot, but it never fails to be shocking, I guess. I've been trans my whole life. I've been harassed and bullied my whole life. None of this is new, but it's still just kind of like, why do you need to be aggressive? Okay, so now you've got this whole life narrative. It's not just about this incident. This is always happening to me. I've got to talk to my therapist because I've been working through all of these traumas and these psychological problems for a long time now. It's all about sort of me and my journey and my narrative. Again, raises questions. By the way, it's betting season over at MyBookie. As if you were not already way into politics right now. With MyBookie, you can bet on things like the 2024 U.S. presidential election winner. Will it be AOC? Will it be Ted Cruz? Will it be Kanye West? Will it be Elon Musk? You can place your bets now. Nothing makes an event more exciting than putting some money on it. With sports and election season in full swing, now is the time to try your hand. Whether you've been betting for years or you're ready to play for the first time, MyBookie is your go-to this season. Biggest online selection of bets and props. MyBookie has made it simple to win and easy to withdraw your cash. I'm actually heading out to go see my friend Senator Cruz for our podcast together. So, maybe I'll have to make it interesting. Maybe I'll put a couple bets there. Head on over to MyBookie to create an account. Just use the promo code Knowles to claim your 100% deposit match all the way up to $1,000. That means if you put $100 in, they'll give you another $100. It is easy and a great way to jumpstart your bankroll. NFL, NBA, MLB, everything else, they've got it all on tap. It's never too late to get started on your winning season, only at MyBookie. Okay, then posts this video. So Laverne Cox posts a story about this right away. Cox recorded the video only moments after returning home and was still in the same outfit she was wearing while walking in the park, which consisted of a black hoodie, black yoga pants, and a black mask. Okay, hold on. Here, you've got this image painted that this person is wearing all black and covering his face, and yet he's recognized from far away from somebody. Now, it could be the case that I couldn't pick Laverne Cox out of a lineup. I don't really even know what he looks like. But it could be the case that this person, this attacker, saw that this is just a transvestite, So maybe he didn't recognize the actor, but he recognized this is a transvestite, and I'm going to go harass a transvestite. But maybe not. I don't know. I mean, assuming that Laverne Cox has had enough work done that he looks like a woman, and he's covered up completely and all wearing all black and a black mask. I just don't really buy that. A black hoodie, so is the hood over his head maybe? I mean, if that were the case, who would know? You wouldn't even know that someone is trying to look like a woman or trying to look like a man. That part raises a lot of suspicion to me. The actor said she began blaming, that's kind of interesting, the actor, because now actresses, straight actresses who know that they're actresses, want to go by the male term actor. And Laverne Cox, who is a man, who is identifying as a woman, wants to go by the male term actor as well. Very confusing ideology. The actor said she began blaming herself for the attack and looking for ways that it could have been avoided before remembering that what had just happened was in no way her fault. We were walking in the park. We weren't doing anything. It's not safe in the world. So that's the problem, that they're existing in the world. No further description of this alleged attack. The attack against Cox comes, here we go. This is also coincidental. The attack against Cox comes just days after the annual Trans Day of Remembrance. The Human Rights Campaign reports that 2020 has seen a rise in transgender or gender nonconforming people being fatally shot or killed by other violent means. Black or Latinx transgender women represent the largest number of victims. Okay, and there is the political call to action. So there is the agenda, right? There is the claim that, broadly speaking, transgender people, men who believe that they're women or vice versa, but it's mostly men who believe that they're women, are being slaughtered, they're being murdered at very, very high rates, and it's just because they have this peculiar sexual identity. That is not true. The number of transgender people, or gender nonconforming, so people who either think they're the opposite sex or that they have no sex at all, who have been killed in the United States this year, according to CNN, is 37. Not 37,000, not 3,700, not 370, 37. According to the National Weather Service, 49 people each year are killed by lightning strikes. There are more people, significantly more people each year, on average, who are killed by being struck by lightning than are killed for being transgender or having this kind of view that you're the opposite sex that you are. Just to put the numbers in perspective. Further, the number of people who identify as the other sex who are killed, among them, 60% of them, according to the Reuters Foundation News, 60% of them are prostitutes. Not saying that, it's fine to kill prostitutes. What I'm saying is prostitutes are already more likely to be victims of crimes. So you can't just say it's because of the way that they identify their sex. No, statistically speaking, it It might have something to do with their line of work, the situations that they're in, the neighborhoods that they're in, whatever, right? There are these other factors as well. I'm not saying this didn't happen. Maybe it happened. Maybe something happened. I'm not saying it's a full Jussie Smollett made-up story. It does seem a little suspect. The details certainly seem suspect. The fact that it comes a couple days after the transgender liturgical feast day, you know, the transgender day that's celebrated in the popular culture, is a little bit suspect. The timing of, you know, Laverne Cox couldn't dial 911 in the time that apparently there was a physical attack that took place and a de-escalation and the guy went away and they felt safe. That seems a little bit suspect to me as well. And then the political tie-in on all of the story seems a little suspect. And then the fact that it takes place in Hollywood, show business, where there are certainly hoaxes and fanciful things that come out, also make me suspect. On a scale of 0 to 10 lemons, you know, 10 lemons being just completely unreliable, probably fake news, 0 lemons being maybe it's reliable. I don't know. I mean, I would probably say that my skepticism puts it at about a 5 or 6 lemon category. So I think maybe something like this did happen. I'm not saying that nothing like this happened, but that the way that the narrative is being presented is quite dishonest. That's just my take. That's how I would read this news story. And if I were, I guess as I'm doing right now, if I were to relate this news story, I would have a healthy dose of skepticism. And I would get the facts on the ground that we can establish. And I'd say that only really makes up about 10% of the story. And then it seems like 90% is this whole political narrative. And the political narrative is not just suspect, it's downright incorrect. It's dishonest, the idea that there's a massacre going on of people because of their sexual identity in this country. It's just not true. That does not happen. The numbers don't back it up. The facts don't back it up. That aspect, lots and lots of lemons with that. Now, if you happen to stumble upon any other very biased, poorly written news articles or stories that may or may not be fake news, please post them in the comments section. We'll get to them next time.